So I've done a few gaming related videos. Did the asset flip video, did before that the me trying to make a 3D model, but I feel like I've never really talked about my actual experience in game development. I've hinted at it a few times. I feel like I mentioned a few times that I went to DeVry University for game and simulation programming, but I've never really dove into that. So that's what I want to do here. Today, I want to tell the story of Lightbulb Industries. So all through my senior year of high school, I basically fought my guidance counselor to make her realize that DeVry University was where I wanted to go. By the time I started my senior year of high school, before I even had the first day of my senior year of high school, I was already accepted into DeVry, which isn't that hard, but the point is, I already had set where I was going to go to college. But my guidance counselor kept saying that going for video games specifically was too narrow and I should apply to other colleges for other options. I didn't. I completely ignored her the entire time because I was already accepted into college. Why would I go anywhere else? Also, game programming, it's not too narrow because you still have to learn the basics of programming. So you can take those skills and move them somewhere else. It's my high school guidance counselor. There's multiple stories of how she kind of screwed up. That's a completely separate video. Point is, after high school, started DeVry University immediately, which there's definitely some other stories there about bad classes, bad professors, and some good classes and good professors, but we're skipping all that and fast forwarding specifically to the end of 2013. My final year of college was basically just in all of the senior project classes. There was one where it was do a research paper. It was the capstone class for the general education, where it's just you and 3 other people do a massive 40-page research paper. But the main class that was a lot of focus and a lot of the work at that time was the senior project class for the game and simulation programming major. Basically, we just had to make a game. We were given free reign. We could use any engine we wanted. We could just make any game we wanted. It was just make a game. Show that you learned something throughout your 4 years of college. So at the start, everyone dividing into teams. I was definitely going to be paired with my friend Eric, who I worked on pretty much every class we were in together. We worked together. So me and him working together was no brainer. We also partnered with 2 other people there named Anthony and Christian. Us 4 are the major players in this story. Now, as for the name, this was the first thing we had to do because the first class was basically not even really working on a project because we still had to decide what project we wanted. It was more forming the team and figuring out our roles. And as for the name, because we also need to come up with a name for a team, we did the stereotypical thing of just looking around the room and trying to see if we could come up with a name that way. And I think it was Anthony who just was, it's looking around the room and he looked up and saw the fluorescent lights in the room and just light bulb, and then added industries, just light bulb industries. And the rest of us were just you know what? That's not bad. Let's go with it. It's just stupid fucking name, but it is one of those that's just so stupidly simple that it just kind of worked. Then it was coming up with the game idea. And all 4 of us are fans of the series Fallout. So we wanted to do something in a post-apocalyptic wasteland style. And as for the actual game itself, one of the things we were supposed to challenge ourselves on in the senior project is come up with something new. Don't just make the same games, the same, just copy the tutorials and stuff from what we were doing previously. Come up with something new. Come up with a good game mechanic that we thought we would be able to do and would work well in the game, whatever. And there were 2 that basically we thought of and were just really focused on. First being our camera. We had the ability to go from like a top-down style, which I think is how I've never played any of the Wasteland games, but I think it's that style where it's like more of a top-down view and not a third-person or first-person view. But we had that camera and had the ability to press a button and it shifts to a third-person view, just like an over-the-shoulder camera. And basically, if you were in the top-down, it was more of like a twin-stick shooter, although I think the camera stayed behind you, so not quite like a twin-stick shooter. But then when you went into the third-person view, you actually had the verticality. You could look up, down, left, had the full range of motion. Not really a complicated mechanic, not really one that, like, thinking about it now, with the style of game we were doing, it didn't really make sense, I feel like, but at the time we were like, yeah, that'll be a really cool mechanic, let's do it. The second mechanic was our robot companion named Flavor. I remember the name. I could not tell you what it stands for because it's an acronym. The flying, levitating, those are the same thing. Assault vehicular omni robot. That's definitely not it, but I'm going with it. And basically, he could loot, he could attack, he could just do a bunch of other things that a companion could do, which isn't really a unique mechanic. I mean, Fallout 3 even had companions, and plenty of other games have had companions, so it's not really a unique mechanic. It was more of like, we are challenging ourselves with this because we never really did anything with AI outside of like, hey, this enemy walks across the screen and when it touches you, you get hurt. Like, we haven't done at this point anything like super complex, like an actual like state machine for AI, like where once an enemy gets at range, it'll attack unless you have it set to defend, in which case it'll try to heal the player and then do X, Y, and Z. Like, we didn't have anything complex like that. So that's our main like, we wanted to do something like that. Now, I could sit here and try to remember all of the things that happened in development. I'm not going to. That was in 2013. So that was, like 8.5 years ago. Jesus Christ, I'm fucking old. But what I can do is come here and see Lightbulb Industries on Dropbox. Apparently, I'm the only member now. I don't know why the other... There was 3 of us. I don't know why the other 2 aren't members. I don't know if their accounts are just like, if it was one of those where they hadn't logged into their accounts for the longest time and it ended up being just like deleted because it wasn't used. This is basically everything that Crimson Wasteland... I didn't even mention the name of the game was Crimson Wasteland. I didn't even mention that. The reason we went with Crimson Wasteland, Eric looked it up, and apparently when stuff is irradiated, it actually has like a red glow to it. Like, not like green is the typical color that's associated with radiation, but it actually like glows red or something. So we basically had like a red fog. Think what is it? Dead Money from New Vegas, that DLC. I don't remember whether Dead Money was out at the time. Dead Money was 2011, so yeah, it was definitely out at the time. I don't know if it was a case of us just subconsciously thinking of that, or if it's just we thought it was good. I'm also looking at these folders. I don't know what 3ds Max scripts are. I also love how we had our assets separated in different folders. That one's Anthony's. I'm gonna block out the name because even though I'm sharing the first names, probably shouldn't share the last names without consent. Nick. Who the fuck is Nick? As I mentioned, the 4th person in our group was named Christian. Who the fuck was Nick? So let's look at this PNG. Oh, that was the cover. What was the Omega? What'd the Omega symbol have to do? Was that like the evil, like, people we were going for? I don't remember. Why is there a PDF for Unity? A .url file? Why? What is the PDF? Oh, the PDF is nothing. No idea. Important crap. This is the one that is going to be the most important folder, because this is basically all of these are our documents that we had to hand in for the game. Like, these were the senior project documents. The team charter, as I mentioned, we had to come up with a team name, like come up with our roles first. So this was the beginning, the actual beginning of Lightbulb Industries. Again, gonna blur out the last names other than mine. Why was I the team leader? Who the fuck decided to make me the team leader? Our mission is to create a 3D post-apocalyptic RPG using Unity 3D. We plan to implement many features in this game in the time that we have. These features, I don't even think I mentioned, this was like 16 weeks. So keep that in mind when show like how much we were able to get through. Features include but are not limited to a companion that follows the player character, a recipe-based crafting system. We never got a crafting system in place. I completely forgot that there was supposed to be a crafting system in place. I feel like that's like a stereotypical like new game designer, new game developer thing. Like, everyone wants to put in a crafting system, even though crafting systems just are all the fucking same most of the time. Like, unless you do something interesting, like half the time there's no reason for a fucking crafting system. A leveling and skill system that allows the player to upgrade themselves, their companion, and their crafting recipes. Customizable and upgradable player house. Why would we have... Wait, we definitely did not do anything with player houses. We never got even close to that. Strengths and weaknesses. Anthony, programming. Weaknesses, 3D modeling and animate. I mean, all of us were weak at 3D modeling and animation. Christian, strengths, story and level design. Weaknesses, programming. Which is actually good that we had like someone that was not just a pure programmer, because having the one thing we've realized from doing a bunch of projects, and as I'll get to everything we did after college, art is definitely the weak point when you have a major that is focused primarily on programming. The art is always the sticking point. As I mentioned with when I was doing the 3D modeling in Blender and such, it's just, good at programming but weak at 3D modeling. Like, need someone else to be able to do the art, because otherwise you need to like have a very specific art style that's easy for anyone to do. Me, gameplay programming, AI programming, physics just say programming. Why did we... Okay. What weakness is 3D model? Yeah. Eric, UI programming, level and XP systems. I mean, like, designing the system? What did we mean there? Animation and AI programming are weaknesses. Yeah, I was the lead programmer. Makes sense. Still don't know why I'm the team leader. Lead programmer's fine, but Eric, UI leveling system programmer. Christian, head writer and level designer. And Anthony, just made him programmer. It's just like, you're just the utility guy. Program whatever me and Eric are not programming. I think he actually ended up programming like a lot of the inventory system. I think that was like the gap, because I was focused more on the AI and Eric was focused on the actual like leveling system. So then Anthony focused on like the inventory and actually getting items in the game. Although I don't know if we ever actually got like full on equipment in the game. Statement of work, scope of work. It's just the same thing. Unity 4.2. Jesus Christ, Unity 5 wasn't even out yet. I love how we're using 3ds Max and Blender. Why'd we use both? No fucking clue. We used Skype. Remember when Skype was a thing? Is Skype still a thing? I don't know of a single person that's ever used Skype. Also, file sharing, Dropbox. Yeah, we didn't know how source control worked. We didn't know how Git or any of those worked. So we just used Dropbox. We would just zip up the project and throw it into Dropbox, and that was how we shared code. Yeah, nothing else interesting in here. We have the game design document though. What are these? What are these? Hold on. What is this zoom? What is this zoom Dropbox? First of all, if I scroll forward, oh, I'm zooming oh, I see. I'm zooming the Chrome window and not the document. Got it. But what are these bullet point? I don't know. I'm assuming this was just like a template. Features: companion customization, companion level up system, player crafting, weapon crafting. What is the difference between player crafting and weapon? Not gonna ask. Crafting tree, house crafting, plus FPS shift. I think that's the camera, but why is that put in with house craft? Not gonna question it again. Player leveling through skill trees, multi-tier leveling tree. Aren't those the same thing? Sandbox. What? Our daylight system was atrocious. I remember that. I made it, and it was atrocious. Loot system, quest system, voice acting, extra. We never even got a story to be able to have voice acting. Purpose application. We aim to make this game as entertaining as possible. Well, no shit. What? Why the fuck else would you? What the fuck else are you gonna do? ID list isn't important. I think that was just our like basically we had an ID system for items, and it was just like keeping that in check of just like this item stands for this, or this ID stands for this item. Project plan, that doesn't matter. That was just TDD, technical design document. Hardware, any graphics card or built-in video card motherboard that supports Produce XP or later. I'm assuming Windows 7 was definitely out by that time because I had my laptop and that had Windows 7, but Windows XP was still in support. So any standard sound card that supports XP or later. I love how our thing was just any graphics card, like no actual hardware specs. It's just like anything. Input devices, mouse and keyboard. Yeah, we never really thought of doing controller support. Unity and C#, we had to specify C# because at that point Unity had two other programming languages. It had Unity script, which was like a bastardized JavaScript, and it had Boo, which I think was like Python. At least syntax was like Python, and I always wanted to program a game in Boo just to say that I programmed a game in Boo, but then they eventually took it out because no one fucking used it. So I never got to make a Boo game. User interface, rather simple. So the best part about that is hold on, I gotta go back to the project plan. Or no, it was the game design document. PC because of complexity of user interface. And let's zoom in super far. User interface, rather simple. We contradicted ourselves just like 2 documents later. Graphics engine, Unity 3D, yeah, that's all fine. Can deal with higher level modeling concepts. A lot of these are words that just don't mean anything. 3ds Max models, Blender models, characters. The characters are the 3 textures that just like, what fucking graphics engine can't deal with textures? Yeah, everything else in here seems very a physics engine. Handles the simulation of the world. That, again, is a sentence that means nothing. Handles collisions, terrain changes, controls waves in the sea. There's a 0% chance we would have been able to do that. Like, even if we got to the point where we could have done that, our level of experience was not even close enough to have physics-controlled waves. Also, was there even a sea in our game? I thought our game was in the middle of a fucking desert. Program initialization, loads development's team name, so a splash screen. So a splash screen. That's what we need. Timing, use the machine's frame rate. What again, none of that makes none of this means anything. We're doing events on mouse click and key press. Yeah, no shit. And what is use the machine's frame rate? Like, you're saying for the updates and stuff? Because, like, yeah, that's how Unity works. You do something on update, it uses the frame rate. What do you mean? Like, reading some of this stuff, having more experience actually being a senior developer, like, actually working in software development for, what, like 6-7 years at this point? I'm reading a lot of this, and I'm just looking at it like, none of this means anything. Read me, I'm important. There's no way this is important. Oh, this was just like, hey, this is how we're going to like what the game is going to be. Futuristic. We all been forgetting that this is what we were doing, and this is starting to become recognizable as the game progresses. Blah 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 blah. So this is actually interesting, because one of the things that I was thinking about this game and about the other game that I'm going to share in a bit is we were not good at coming up, like, figuring out an art style. Like, we didn't understand the concepts of art style and, like, just keeping things consistent like that. So it's kind of interesting to see that this was actually, like, called out at some point in the game, that we were just making a game and then not actually keeping it consistent with, like, the kind of setting we want. So the GUI was going to render on a separate camera like that, which that's what Dead Space. I've only played Dead Space 1 and I never finished it. I think that would have been tough in Unity 4.2. Like, now it's super fucking simple to do something like that. In Unity 4.2, I think that might have been difficult, and I don't think we ever got that. Core gameplay, this is where we're falling away from futuristic. So we were going to, instead of do normal equipment, have chips for flavor and update the robot. Wait, hold on. Transportation system is going to be somewhat of an interesting challenge since it has to be futuristic. I'm thinking of having you ride like a mechanical bear or something like that, or maybe even a non-offensive mech warrior. Why is mechanical bear the first place you go to? I mentioned, like, oh yeah, we're like keeping, realizing we need to, like, rein it in and get back to the art style, and then mechanical bear gets thrown in. And that doesn't match a post-apocalyptic, like, futuristic wasteland at all. I think we're getting into the more, like, this is starting to just repeat itself. Yeah, this is a lot of, like, here's the weapon stats, and here's just the same stuff repeated over and over again. There's not really a good reason to keep going through a lot of these. We have a user manual. Oh my god! We actually have screenshots here. You're gonna see screenshots later. But the HUD, we got the player health, player stamina, and experience. So we use these orbs. Is it Diablo? Eric basically copied, like, a game, and I wasn't sure. Why is that the time? What does that mean? And currency. Oh, our currency was batteries. Interesting. But, like, he, like, went with, like, a Diablo style or something, because I think Diablo has orbs. Yes, Diablo has, like, the orbs that show the health. I don't know why we went with this. It doesn't really fit the game. It's just like, hey, let's take this from another. Oh, that's our inventory menu using the old shitty Unity UI. Yes. We had the player inventory, melee weapon slot, ranged weapon slot. I didn't realize we had both. And just menu tabs, crafting menu. But we actually did get a crafting system in place. I didn't think we did. I mean, it's extremely fucking basic, but, like, I didn't even think we got one in place. Skills menu. What are they? Skill tabs, skill choice, skill bars, another skill choice, description, upgrade button. Oh, and then this is where it's like, flavor would have chips to control, like, the max health, max radiation, the minigun range and damage. Basically, flavor was our main focus. It was, like, our main system. I don't really know why. I guess yeah, I'm not sure. I don't really know. I forgot we actually had mining and stuff. I knew we had looting. I forgot we had any sort of mining. We actually got more done than I thought, if I'm gonna be completely honest. You can also see we didn't have a skybox. It's just kind of, like, empty out in the distance. Oh, right, balanced, because it had support skills of, like, healing and stuff. Defensive, it would only use support skills. Offensive, it would use attack skills. And balanced, it would change depending on, the player's health. But we actually had, like, a mining and a looting so that it would, if you had mining on and you got near a mining node, it would actually fly up to it. There was no animation, so it would just, like, fly and look at the mining node, and so the mining node would eventually disappear, and it would have the materials in its inventory. This was all my realm. I did all the AI, and I don't remember any of this. our fucking enemies. you now I did a very good job making this enemy, and you might not actually be able to tell how I made it, because I just really like crafted it as much as possible to make it not look like not look too simple, not look that like you can't tell that I made this completely using just Unity primitive objects. Now it's subtle, but I'll explain how I did it. I made a capsule. I put a capsule in the world. Added 2 cylinders for arms. Fucking genius. So as you can tell, my art has never been good. It's never been good. That was it. Drones, officially designed as war machines. Drones are now found all over the wasteland. Blah 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 blah. They're just drones. Chests. That's a chest. Looks like a fucking ice cream sandwich. We did have a mech that you could actually climb in and walk around in. I don't think it could attack. I don't think we ever got that. We had a particle effect for the mining spot. Interesting. There's a lot of stuff here that I'm like, I'm at like almost 40 minutes and I haven't even gotten to the bulk of the, like, apparently this is the bulk of what we're doing, because I didn't even remember this stuff existed. We also had a post-mortem. What was our post-mortem? What went right? A lot of things did go right in the game, scope being enormous. One of the major things we did was research, blah, 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 blah. Things that went right. Inventory system, crafting system, map system, file merging. I don't know what the fuck that is. Flavor AI, buildings, team chemistry, programming, 3 programmers, research. What went wrong? Ran into a few issues, blah, blah. Made a huge scope, and instead of getting rid of things, we left them in and added to them. This is what hurt us. Yeah, so the problem, especially when you're a new developer, the problem is just having a big scope or scope creep in general, where you'll think that you can do way more than you actually can. Like, you don't realize at that point what your abilities are fully. You don't have a full grasp on like what you can get done and everything. So we just had so many features that were like, let's add this. Oh, let's add this. Let's add this. And rather than cutting it down to like half of those features and making sure those features were as good as they possibly could be, we just had so many features and wanted this to be like a huge game. And by the end of 16 weeks, it's like it like there were some things that worked really well, but none of them really worked well together, and the art also never really got going. And then you'll notice down here there are 2 files that were updated in 2014. Now you notice the postmortems end of 2013. That's because that's when the class ended. That's when we all finished school. Our graduation wasn't until like the next summer, but that's because DeVry's fucking weird. Why would we have documents in 2014 if we were done by that point? Well, for that, we need to go to the magical world of Kickstarter. Crimson Wasteland, futuristic post-war open world multi-perspective third-person. Oh my god, the amount of freaking hyphens in that. Jesus Christ. ARPG with a floating robot companion. Wow. I did not realize our goal was that low. Why was it only 15 grand? Why did we think we'd be able to make this game with 15 grand? This is the kind of game where I would look at now and be like, that's a scam. Or if it's not a scam, it's someone that's completely delusional and have no idea how to fucking make, like, just have no fucking clue. Like, there's no I mean, we were delusional back then. It's basically this. It's the Dunning-Kruger effect. So the more you learn, you basically follow this path. This is the confidence. This is how much you know. And when you don't really know a lot, but you know enough to be dangerous and be able to do like enough, your confidence is just absolutely fucking off the charts. We were able to do a few things that we thought were impressive considering we were in college and just did it in 16 weeks. the AI and everything. And us making the Kickstarter shows that we were here at that time, because there is no reason we should have thought that there's no chance that we would have been able to make that game, especially with 15 grand. But like in general, we did not have the knowledge, we did not have the skill to make a game of that caliber. We were here. We were like, we are going to be able to do this game. We are going to be able to finish it. We are going to set the gaming world on fire. Luckily, it didn't pass, because then that let us go into just actual programming jobs, and then past this part where we start, because like the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. You lose that like undeserved confidence, and then slowly start building that confidence back. But we were up here. We thought we could absolutely just do this, no problem. We are a startup studio currently consisting of 3 game designers, Anthony, Eric, and Eric. To be more specific, we are programmers currently stationed around Philadelphia, PA. We have a Twitter? Why? Oh, YouTube? We have a YouTube? Why is it Lightbulb Industries 1? Oh, wait, we do have a YouTube. I was going to go there. Gee, fucking idiot. Oh, we do. We did have a blog spot. Oh, we have a whole 3 posts. That's great. We'll get to some of that later. Here's our interview with J Money Game. So, I vaguely remember this, and I remember kind of like being a little upset that I wasn't invited on here, but at the same time, I am me. So there's what. Wait, hold on. We expected this to be done by October 2015. We expected this to take 2 years. Not even 2 years, a year and a half. I'm gonna skip this for now. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Hold on. I need to put my headphones in. I need to listen to this. Need to watch our fucking what we thought would get people excited about this whole thing. I mean, the Arial font doesn't really fit, but like, that really wasn't that bad of an... Alright, a little loud. Omega Titan. Year, hold on. I realized I could just go full screen. What did that say? Omega Titan, year 2145, 27 million kilometers from Earth, danger status red. Omega Titan, I guess, was the ship. So, I don't remember the story of this. I could read the document and read the story, but I'm sure the Kickstarter will say it. So, this entire trailer, Eric put most of it together. I did some of the models for it, but then it was basically me and him trying to render it using 3ds Max. Like, it was completely, everything was made in 3ds Max. We were rendering it using our, well, I think he might have actually had a computer at the time. I was using my Alienware laptop, basically running it overnight trying to render this. It was chugging. It was heavy rendering. But everything in here, so the other thing, not to keep stopping and talking, the other thing is, especially when you're like first starting and right out of college and stuff, it's very easy to get into the mindset of like, I want to make everything myself. We didn't use any store-bought assets anywhere, as far as I know. As far as I can remember, we didn't use any store-bought assets anywhere. Like, everything in here was made by us. The ship might be slightly, but the fact that there's like cylinders as the guns, it's very possible that this was made by us. The textures probably weren't. The textures were probably found and like repurposed, but it's possible that the ship was made by us. But yeah, like, we were in the mindset, like I mentioned in the asset flip video, where like everything, you have to have 100% like custom assets, and you can't really like store buy anything. We should have absolutely, I think the Unity Asset Store, well, I know it existed at that point. We absolutely should have been buying a lot of assets, because we didn't have an artist. Like, we should have been like we could make some things, but we should have absolutely been supplementing that with store-bought assets, and we would have gotten so much further. And then we fly into the window, and it's a different scene. So, hold on, not here. Wow, why is it so fucking dark? Is it gonna turn on at any point? Ah, flavor. There's like no shading here. Like the lighting turned on, but there's no shadows. That is jarring. Ah, some dude. I think that is actually the same model as the player model, just with hair and a lab coat. I genuinely think it's the same model. Yeah, there's like no shadows anywhere. How'd we fuck up the shadows that bad?
Mayday, this is Delta X-Ray Foxtrot. We've abandoned the capital. Omega Titan, do you copy? The war has started. I repeat, we've abandoned the capital.
We had voice acting in the trailer? When the fuck did we have voice acting? So yeah, there's the Crimson Wasteland trailer. Also, I didn't see the assets that I made. I think because it's so fucking dark. I think they're in there, but the compression of this video, man, it is amazing. I made some, like, yeah, you can see it. There's a beaker there. It's very subtle. The beaker I made, and I was so fucking proud of it because it actually looked really good. It was probably the highest poly beaker that ever existed. I didn't know how to make low poly models at that point, so it was bad. Like, it was the kind where we would not have been able to use it in a game. Oh, we do have the last names in here. Maybe I'll leave them.
My name is Anthony, a developer for Lightbulb Industries, the creators of Crimson Wasteland. What we're trying to build here is a community-driven game that's not only made for gamers, it's made by gamers. Over the next couple of minutes, our team is going to give you an inside look at the world and story of Crimson
I can't
Wasteland.
fucking wait.
I hope you enjoy it.
Hey everyone, my name's Eric, the project lead for Crimson Wasteland. The trailer you just saw was our teaser trailer for our storyline. The trailer itself starts out...
I love how none of us had, like, good webcams. Anthony's was probably the best quality, but you
My
like
name's Eric,
Eric's
the
is
project
like
lead for Crimson
lagging
Wasteland.
the entire time.
The trailer you just saw...
I don't know if he did the same thing, but I used the webcam on my Alienware laptop, which I think is the first one I used when I was doing YouTube, like when I started using
was a teaser trailer for our storyline.
It was all just the Alienware webcam, so it was like real shit quality, but it's fine for like a YouTube video when it's like just a small thing in the corner. But when it's I keep unpausing, and then realizing I need to talk more. When you're trying to like get people to pay you money for a game, and you can't even like record a video at a semi-decent quality, it's not necessarily a red flag, but I could understand why someone would look at that and go like, they didn't even put like effort into this video.
The trailer itself starts out 35 years after the United Nations put a program into motion codenamed Project Titan. Project Titan was designed to lessen the stress on Earth and its resources by sending willing people to Mars.
I don't remember this
Upon
story.
its extremely expensive undertaking, Dr. Milton Payne, your father, and a robotics engineering expert took on the challenge of making teleporters to trim the cost.
We had so much lore that I don't remember. I would just remember like, hey, we were in a post-apocalyptic wasteland,
and the UN decided to construct a security bridge between Earth and Mars, which is what Omega Titan was. This ship becomes more important than you can imagine, but I'm saving those details for the game.
Don't save those details. The game never existed.
Also, we were planning to not...
I also don't remember the details. I don't remember anything about this.
Reveal our robot companion Flavor, which stands for Free Levitating Armored Vehicle with Optimizing Robotics.
Darn, I was so close. I got levitating right, and I think I got vehicle right. Well, I said like vehicular, so I got like every other word correct. I got like the L, the V, and the R correct, but the rest, fucking not even
until
close.
The game, but instead we rebuilt him to a pre-war stage, as we like to call it, for our trailer. Flavor is what you need for every mission. He can die, he can get hurt, he's upgradable, he does almost everything you can do, but faster. If you upgrade him right, you two can become an unstoppable force. Now, to touch on what Anthony stated earlier, we've come to Kickstarter to bring a game to a community for the community to pitch into, not just by pledges, but with ideas.
What does that sound like?
We've come to Kickstarter to bring a game to get him right.
Again, the like lack of quality equipment, where it's just like suddenly the voice doubles.
You two can become an unstoppable force. Now, to touch on what Anthony stated earlier, we've come to Kickstarter to bring a game to a community for the community to pitch into, not just by pledges, but with ideas. We understand that as a developer, our fans are what drive a game, so why not take input from them as much as we can?
Oh, this fucking idiot.
Some of the gameplay features we have planned include a loot system, a crafting system, a daylight system, and a hacking system. We also have a unique combat system that allows...
Yeah, hacking system. Also, I never actually touched on the daylight system. Hopefully it gets shown somewhere. It probably won't, because I think it's just static images from now. So the daylight system, which I made and was absolute shit. So we had just a normal time system. The time system's easy enough. You just, every update, you check how much time has passed, and you add that much time to the like clock. You know, if you have a 24-minute day, every second will be a minute in the game. Like a 24-minute day is in like the in-game time is 24 minutes. Every second you add a minute to the clock. Yeah, it's super easy to do. But what we did, we also had a daylight system where the actual like lighting would change, except all it was two directional lights, where one would start horizontal and slowly like move over time, so you move the shadows, which looked fine. The problem was the transition between day and night, where one directional light would turn off and the other one would turn on, and it wasn't a smooth transition. It was just, it would go from like the normal like white / yellowish light of the sun to just like blue. like to make it seem like nighttime, and it's just like, it was so jarring, and it was not good.
Allows the player to utilize two different camera angles while attacking. The first camera angle is a high-up third-person camera that lets you see all around you and is ideal for melee combat against hordes of enemies.
We expecting that for melee
combat
combat.
Is an over-the-shoulder third-person camera that adds a crosshair to your screen and helps with precision aiming with ranged weapons. Another one of the main gameplay focuses
such a pointless feature
was the AI, especially Flavor's AI. Flavor is used for many different functions throughout the game, including fast traveling.
Also, could I not grow hair in like the center of my lip? Like it's just like you have two parts of a mustache. Like, what the fuck is this facial hair situation going on right here?
Controlling transport mechs and protecting the player from radiation. Because he is such an important part of the game, we wanted his AI to be smart. We don't want him to be the kind of companion that rushes in battle and gets killed every 5 seconds unless you babysit him. We not only want Flavor's AI to be smart, we also want it to be customizable. We want the player to be able to set him up to suit their playing style.
This is one of those where, again, Dunning-Kruger effect, we thought we were like revolutionizing games and revolutionizing things, like making it so interesting. We just added like, hey, you can make him offensive or defensive. By this point, fucking Kingdom Hearts already. The Kingdom Hearts 1, you could customize Goofy and Donald's AI. Like, we didn't do anything special, but in our minds, it was amazing. Because it was amazing for us to do it, we assumed that everyone else would think it's amazing. Looking back now, it's like, yeah, this is kind of shit. Like, now we could probably come up with something better. Whether we would still be able to make the game is questionable, but we would be able to like come up with a better concept, I feel like, at this point.
Some of the settings that we'll have include whether or not set them up to suit their playing style.
What was that? I'm confused because, like, what was the tongue thing?
Some of the settings that we'll have include whether or not he charges into battle or sticks back and defends the player, or whether he loots, whether he mines, and what kinds of items he loots and mines. We basically want Flavor to be an extension of the player. We also want him to be one of the best parts of the game, not something that'll constantly frustrate you. To keep track of this project, you can like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, follow our Google Plus page, subscribe to our...
Fucking Google Plus! What? I think this was back when YouTube like forced the Google Plus account. I think this was back like right after they started doing that. And that's why we had a Google Plus page essentially, because
YouTube channel.
we needed one. Or maybe not. Maybe we made a Google Plus. I think we made a Google Plus page and couldn't connect it to our YouTube. I think that's what happened. We couldn't figure out how to connect it to the YouTube because we like made the YouTube account and then made the Google Plus page, and they were like two separate things.
Follow our blog. Email us at lightbulbindustries1@gmail.com. And of course, keep following this Kickstarter
again, I guess
page.
Lightbulb Industries was taken, so that's why we did Lightbulb Industries 1. Like, we didn't do like Lightbulb Industries Gaming or anything. We just went with the 1. Oh my god, is that the Nick that had the assets in here? He made us a sword. Oh, no idea who that is. I think that was Eric's friend, maybe? I have no fucking clue. Oh, yeah. Energy connects. Yeah, okay. Why do we have collector's edition weapons? We have a sword of fucking... I love how it's long-range weapon and not just, like, sniper. Electric hammer. Again, why is there, like, no shading on it? Like, how was the rendering fucked up so badly? As you can see from the weapon above, we are not terrible at art, but we are not we aren't top-of-the-line artists. We've come to the point in our development of Crimson Wasteland where we have exhausted the money we set aside for the game. We did not set any... Wait. What money did we set aside? I don't think we set any money aside for the game. We've run into such challenges with licensing and resources to build a beautiful world, and we need to support the support of our fans that we didn't have because we were just starting to get this thing back on track. We also feel that by opening this game up to you, the community, we make this game even better. Just as programmed alpha stage with much of the core programming done, it's debatable. The game is playable with many placeholder objects right now with all but 2 systems functioning perfectly. The quests and achievements perfectly, again, is a strong word. Why do I keep right-clicking? It's just missing much of the story and content in both. We've decided to come to Kickstarter community, play a game with a unique twist on a very popular RPG genre, and give them a feel of the game before we bring it to Steam. Again, unique twist is really, really debatable there. I don't think really much of it was unique at all. Back in here, list of what we need to get this game finished. Public art, cover, various license fees, Unity, Photoshop, 3ds Max, resource costs, assets, music. So we were planning to buy some assets. It's just we didn't, or possibly like hire or like contract some artists. I don't remember exactly what we were doing. Legal filings and such. What is Crimson Wasteland? We kind of heard what Crimson Wasteland is, but oh my god, we had the blueprint flavor. I love how the blueprint is like slanted, so it doesn't actually work as a blueprint background. Like they need to be straight up and down. I don't know how we didn't notice that thing. The PLM, precision laser mechanism, that apparently heals the player, heals radiation of the player, loots enemies, mines. That's just a full-on multi-tool, and he has a minigun. He also has satellite antennas and electromagnetic pulse levitation. I feel like that's just a bunch of words put together. Like, I don't know if electromagnetic pulses can levitate. Oh, this is all just the same thing. If flavor is to die, the player will need to not only pick up his pieces and make their way back to a safe house, but will have to mine, loot, craft, and heal themselves. I feel like that would have been frustrating as fuck. You know, you build up this robot, he is most of your thing, and then he dies, and then you're just weak as fuck. Like, I feel like that would have been super goddamn annoying. Built using the latest Unity technology. And with the ever-upgrading engine, Crimson will utilize the latest, greatest technology Unity has to offer. It was like 4.2 at that point, and it was decent. It was not amazing, but it was decent. We had our mech runner, which we could... sorry, this screenshot just threw me off. I love how we were like an in-world overhead fast travel system, showing the fast travel system, but this is the screenshot we chose. To just, show a desert filled with rocks. Maybe hard to tell, but right in the middle of the screen, player's there. Yep, right there. The way we have set up fast travel is, instead of using a map that doesn't show anything, we decided to pull the camera extremely high up and allow you to click different destinations, and it'll bring... So that's one of those that's a cool feature, but it only worked because our world was not big. Our world was a very simple world. It would not have worked with a full world. Because think of like GTA where it like zooms out and then like goes over to somewhere else and like zooms in there. And it takes so goddamn long to load. We didn't think about that. But we were doing this as the menu. Like when you click on the menu, it would move to that location and then you could fast travel. But if we had a bigger world and that menu was not, like that area was not in range, there's zero chance it would have fucking worked. Interactive inventory, you know, as opposed to non-interactive inventory. Animated user interface, again, using the Diablo method for reasons. Randomized looting system. So a looting system. Like being randomized isn't like special. Give and take upgrade system. Can't overpower yourself. So we still had a skill system for the player, but it's literally, we built the skill system in a way where you can't overpower yourself and you actually need to build flavor is almost the complete opposite fashion of yourself. Interesting. Gray bars, this is because upgrade certain things will take away from the overall upgrades. Okay, so it's just like you upgrade attack, then you can't upgrade your speed as much kind of thing. Radiation zones. So just there's radiation. Story, I don't feel like going into the story. Fang. Hold on. Fang. Fierce alliance neutralizing governments. Terrorist group based out of Yemen begins to take shape and the world begins to see the first real terrorist threat since Al-Qaeda's fall in 20... Wow. That's a story. Rewards. Light bulb. $50 for a t-shirt. That's I didn't even look at the tiers. Let's look at the tiers, actually. 5 was just the thank you. 10 was the Steam key, like the actual game. $15 was just you get stuff for flavor. 20 you get the weapons. 25 you get a exclusive hack tool, but we never actually talked about hacking. 35 tier gets you a poster, collector's edition t-shirt. Oh, we have Cyprus Reach Coalition. Is that the government? What the fuck? Height of the war, the world has seen its population drop from 9 billion to 4 billion and still dropping. Damn. That's a lot. Most third world countries have fallen into famine and civil war. The massive city of Cyprus Reach on Iron Earth. Hold on, there's so much fucking lore here. What is Iron Earth? I'm so confused. We moved to Mars apparently, but like, what the fuck is Iron Earth? Whatever. Assemblies a resistance squad to send to Earth called the CRC. Okay, so the CRC is like the, hey, let's go against the terrorists. Adventure begins on Iron Earth. I think Iron Earth is just 2 days prior to your mission to Earth. What is Iron Earth? Where Colton Payne is briefed in what his father has done. He learns where the CRC has pushed flavor robots against his father's will. So, saving Iron chance for... So wait, the CRC turns bad? They try to turn the flavor bots into killing machines. Okay, so they're not bad, just misguided. That's the poster. That is shit. Oh, and then you have things where it's like, oh, this is awful. $1,000 or more, you become a permanent part of the game's development process. Any project that... Wait, we had 2 people pledge 500 or more? I don't believe that for a second. I believe that was probably just like family members, because there's no fucking chance that actually happened. Yeah, any game that is like, hey, if you spend this money, you get to be a producer, you get to be a developer, essentially. That is awful. It's one of those that might sound good in theory, but like, you're basically paying to be a game developer. Like, no, that's, first of all, you're paying to do work. That's not good. Second of all, paying to be a part of, from the developer standpoint, like, not everyone is going to be good at game development and have good ideas. So having someone just pay $1,000 and be like a producer and be able to like give you ideas for the game, like, a lot of them are going to be shit. Let's be honest. So that's just like bad all around. We hope to grow to around 10. We grew to around fucking nothing because we stopped making games. All right, so that's pretty much it. For Crimson Wasteland, at least. There's one more thing that I want to do. I didn't think I didn't think I would get that lost in the documents. So I didn't think Crimson Wasteland was going to take an hour. Hi, Editing Eric here. Originally, this was just going to be one video. I wasn't going to break this into 2 parts, but sort of as I mentioned in the video itself, I didn't think the Crimson Wasteland part was going to take so long. It took like about an hour and 20 minutes, and I'm shocked I was able to cut it down to 55 minutes. Basically, we have another game to look at, because after Crimson Wasteland, we moved on to another project, a smaller project that we wanted to work on to sort of get our feet wet and get something out there. That will be in the second part, because I don't want this video to be any longer than it has to be. I don't want it to be over an hour. That part will be much shorter, because there's only about 40 minutes of footage left, but again, the fact that there's 40 minutes of footage left, you can kind of understand why I might want to make that a second part. But hope you enjoyed this part. If you have any questions about, maybe something I didn't touch on in the video, or more questions or thoughts or comments on why that game design, why Crimson Wasteland would have failed if we went forward with it, and just like things that maybe we did wrong, did right. I have, like, as I was editing, as I was watching the entire video again, watching me react to it, there are plenty of thoughts that I came up with where it's like, this doesn't make sense, this also doesn't make sense, I didn't even touch on this. So there's probably more I can go into, not enough to go out of my way and make a second video, but if you have any specific questions or thoughts or whatever, let me know in the comments, and I'll either reply, or if there's enough, maybe I'll make a video, like a Q&A video on light bulb industries in general. Other than that, stay tuned for the second part, probably next week, I'm thinking. But for now, I am going to end this video here. So thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.